avoid. Seven bad speech habits to avoid. At least 3 you will observe you have for the first time. You want to be fluent, you learn from people around you, but there are a few bad habits you shouldn't learn from people. Don't imitate without understanding the context. If you like learning from TV shows or cinema, you follow some people online and you want to speak like them. I used to do that a lot when I was a girl. Like, I'm still a girl. It's just that when I was a little more, you understand, right? So I used to observe from this girl named Shreya. She was what I really liked about her was that, so this is class 11th and 12th I'm telling you about. So this girl was really brilliant. She was the topper, and of course there were those things to her. But apart from that, the best thing about her was that she was very soft in the way she used to speak and very simple, like no fancy words. Of course, her English was commendable. She was one of the best we had there, and we had many very good students who would speak really fluently, but she was one of the best. But her style was so simple and so to the ground, like really, really simple. And that is something that I used to learn from her, and she still doesn't know. Like, we're not in touch anymore, so I'm guessing she doesn't know. So you, over the years, you learn from people. You find out those few people whom you want to speak like them, maybe a few of you who probably would want to speak like me. I get that in the comments a lot. So the thing is that you must understand the context, the way a person speaks, okay? Not just start imitating them, just start imitating their body language. Of course, imitation helps. I used to do that. I've learned a lot from her. But just purely imitating and losing your own style will not be a good thing to do. Anyway, coming back. So I had a few students and teachers I had identified. I wanted to learn from them, and I actually did that a lot. So not just Shreya, there were many others also. Like, there was Miss Roy, she spoke really well. Then there was Miss Naqvi and many other teachers who were really outstanding in the way they would speak English. Some very simple words, very simple sentence constructions, but again, really good, really impressive the way they would put across their thought. So it's a great way of learning by observing, and stays longer in your memory since you live those words. But remember to understand the style of the observee. Observee is not really a word, I just made it up. I am the observer, so the person I'm observing from becomes the observee. That's where this word is from, okay? So you do it word to word, but without realizing that the person you're following is being rude or condescending or maybe impatient or maybe patronizing or judgmental or sarcastic. There could be so many things people could be, okay? So these are like very normal human emotions. And if you're learning from someone, we might pick up a few bad things also. So be a little careful. Do not appear condescending and do not appear patronizing. Okay, I'm going to be talking about these things more. This is not one of those points. I have a few habits that we're going to be talking about. There are 7 on the list. They're all amazing. They are going to shake you because they're going to make you realize a few things. This video is a product of my heart and my mind. I've jotted down a few very good points for you. There are some very good, very connected examples that you will be able to relate with. So coming back to what I was saying, कहते हैं कि नकल के लिए भी अकल चाहिए. You say that in Hindi, right? So if you're copying anyone, if you're imitating anybody, do it intelligently. Do not just blindly copy them. Do it smartly. Context is almost always more important than the words. Learn the context in which a thing is spoken along with the words. Okay. Next point on the list is not using enough intonation. What is intonation? Intonation is, rather I'll give you an example. Intonation is, lack of intonation is this. हाय, आप कैसे हैं? मैं ऐसी हूँ, अच्छा लगा आपसे मिलके, अच्छा तो फिर कल मिलेंगे, अच्छा आप कहाँ जा रहे हैं, अच्छा मैं आपके साथ चलूँ क्या? ओके ठीक है, कल मिलते हैं. No rise, no fall, no drama to the voice. This is lack of intonation. And we humans have such a power of speech in our hands, and still we don't use it well. Some people talk like they are tolerating talking to you. The rise and fall of the voice actually has a word. It's called intonation. You can also call it voice modulation. Please modulate your voice when you're talking, because otherwise it sounds dull and it is almost physically hurting. It's like somebody stabbing you in your heart. Physically hurting to listen to someone who uses no intonation. I can actually think of a face right now. I know of a person, talking to her is nothing short of a heart attack. It's so dull, so dull. If I'm talking to you, you owe me a somewhat fun chat. Those few minutes are your golden chance to get to know someone more. Perhaps make a friend. Could be an acquaintance that can help you in your career and life growth. Use the help of voice modulation and phonics. And what is phonics? I did use a word, right? Phonics. So what are phonics? Phonics are the mimicry of sounds that, okay, I'll give you an example. It will be far more easier for me to explain. If I say, my heart was pounding, and I say, my heart was pounding in the moment, thuk, 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 thuk. Now that thuk, 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 thuk is phonics. Me mimicking the sound of heart pounding. Okay, so these are phonics, and phonics make your talk, really, they bring up the level. If you're telling a story to someone and you're sharing an event, just try and use some phonics. It's so much fun to listen to somebody who uses phonics well. Okay, so there's a word by the name tatter-a-tat. Tatter-a-tat is the sound of a door knock. Okay, so if you're knocking at the door, you could just call it tatter-a-tat in English. It's such a great word, and the best part is that it reads the same from either sides. So you start from left to right, same spelling, right to left, same spelling. Okay, so this is really taken very seriously in English. It's not just about the words that you use, but how you use them. That plays a major part in making your speech stand out, in making you a great conversationalist. Okay, there is nothing very exceptional about someone who talks nicely or talks well from somebody else who does not talk well. These just little things that make you stand out, that make your speech appeal to others, that make others learn from you or find you fascinating to listen to. Next point on the list is speaking too quickly. You want to fit in. If I speak fast, I learn fast. No, that's not true. If you will speak fast, you will miss out on words, you'll make more mistakes, you'll lose your confidence, and then you'll blame others for it. That others make fun of you. You think if you speak fast, you will learn fast. It's not true at all. It's actually a major mistake that most English learners make. Whenever they try to speak something in English, they want to put their thoughts across. They think that if they will speak fast, they will appear fluent. But that's not true at all. In fact, most people, like good communicators, don't speak a kilometer a minute. They are focused on getting their message across clearly and being understood. That is where their focus is. Ask yourself why you watch my videos, okay? If you are a regular. If you're watching my videos, I don't speak fast at all. I take my time. I take it easy. It is because you can understand and relate. And that is why you listen to my videos, you watch them. If I speak fast, you won't understand and neither will you relate. Most eloquent speakers are relaxed. Take Shashi Tharoor or Shah Rukh Khan, for example. These guys command attention. They do so by being clear and with aesthetics of their ideas. So if your ideas are good and your clarity is proper, you will command attention. People will listen to you. What you say should be absorbing the subject matter. That is important. The pace should be enough to match the pace of people's brain's processing power. If I'm speaking too fast and your brain is not being able to process the information, you will not take part in the conversation. You would want the conversation to end. So this is a bad speech habit, to be fast when you speak to somebody. Next point on the list is understand your collocations and idioms. Don't worry, I'll get to the meaning of it. I've often seen people misusing these phrases, which are close to how native speakers speak. But unfortunately, they don't get it right. And that changes the meaning completely. The other day, a very funny thing happened. And I'm going to just state that example for you because that will be very relatable for you. Someone asked me for a hike in whatever I was paying them. They asked for a hike. And how they asked it was very funny. She said, "It's high time, you should give me a hike." And believe me, I know this woman made a mistake. And she didn't mean to be disrespectful. She just didn't know the correct usage of the phrase high time. I am humble to her, I'm nice with her, we like each other. She didn't mean to say that, hey, it's high time, give me a pay hike. No, all she wanted to say was that it's been some time now, please consider changing the amount that you pay me. But she could have said it more nicely had she understood the meaning of the phrase she was using. Another mistake that I've seen people making a lot is misuse of improvise all the time in place of improve. So they just replace the word improve with improvise. The two words mean absolutely different things. How could you replace one with the other? Improvise is when you create something on the fly to invent something. For example, if your friend's mom calls you and asks you, where is he? And she's angry. And you know that your friend has lied. So you come up with all these false replies, right? Auntie, wo to abhi toilet mein hai. He's in the washroom. I'll let you talk with him. Just give me a minute, okay? Or something like, oh, auntie, he's sleeping. He was feeling not too well, so he's sleeping. You come up with all those answers, which are not true. That is improvising, thinking on the fly, okay? You were not prepared for it, you had to do something, your mind wasn't prepared. So you came up with something and you tried to make the best of the moment. That is improvising, okay? Stand-up comedians improvise all the time. Abhishek Upmanyu, you've got Gaurav Kapoor. These people, when they're on the stage, they talk to people who are listening to them, who are attending the show. And they improvise. That is improvising. But improve is making something better. Improve is the simple improve that you know. The two words don't mean the same. They just sound the same. So don't be too absorbed in your phone. Pay attention to what's going around and you will observe more. Okay? If you are focused on learning from people around you, you will observe that you're making a few mistakes and these idioms, these phrases that you are incorrectly using will correct them themselves. All right? Next point on the list is using cursing language or offensive language. People overuse these two. Maybe you don't do it in your native language. So maybe the content you're consuming, that has something to do with this habit of you cursing or using negative words all the time. The words that are not very respectful. This is a very bad speech habit. Please change it. You lose elegance the moment you use a cuss word. You lose elegance, you use respect of people who are listening to you. So what I mean by checking the content that you are consuming is that if you're using, in your native language, you don't use enough of these bad words, right? Your parents are probably not habitual of using these words. Then you are learning it from some place. And these days, people are too consumed with their phones. So you're probably learning it online. All these fancy comedians that you follow, they use all this bad language all the time. Please be mindful of what you're consuming because that is where you're learning all these things from. So maybe students at school use it. But if you speak a word of it at an interview, you will not be forgiven. And if it has become a habit, it will show the moment you let your guard down. So be a little more aware of what language you're using and try and build your habit around the right kind of ideas, not the wrong ideas, because they will upset others and you will get into trouble sometime. Sometimes we do it because we are made to believe that this is cool. Indeed, it is not. It's not cool at all to curse people. It's not cool at all to use bad language. Your parents did not teach you that. You're learning it from these so-called fancy, maybe influencers or maybe some celebrities who think this is cool. It's not cool at all. It's not. Respect will never go out of fashion. Kindness will always be a high class attitude. Kindness showcases not just in your actions, but also in the way you speak. Be mindful of others' feelings. Learn the connotation of words, the feelings behind words. So connotations are the feelings that are hidden behind the words. Sometimes a word that you use, you may have picked it from somebody online or some friend of yours. You use that word without understanding the correct meaning of that word or the context of the word. Sometimes, like, there are a few words, there are a few phrases like, words like bang or ride, or there are these words. They have double meanings. So be sure that you know correct connotation of the word and then you use it in a context, because otherwise you will offend people and it will throw very bad light on you. Okay, it will not make others feel good about you. Don't feel pressured to be someone you're not. I know this idea can impact your mind. You may think that it sounds fancy, it sounds cool. It does not. It does not. I think very opposite of highly. I think extremely lowly of people who use or resort to such language. Okay, avoid overuse of fillers. Like okay, avoid it. It does not sound good. It makes you sound repetitive, it's redundant, it makes other people uncomfortable. And there are sometimes people at really good platforms who make these mistakes. People who others are looking up to, even those people are making these mistakes. These are called crutch words. You rely on them to avoid making pauses, because you find pauses very discomforting, although it should not be the case. Pauses are beautiful. They show you're confident. Once in a while, if you're using filler words, it's absolutely all right. Even in my videos, I use okay sometimes, okay? But that is only my expression of making sure that you've understood the idea. It's not really a filler word for me. I'm not using it as a filler word. So when it is okay is that they help connect sentences in a natural way. But this can become an issue when they start becoming your vocabulary, okay? So when you are using it as a connection for sentences to make sense, then it's fine. But don't make it a part of your vocabulary that you're using it all the time. This is one word that you know the most, so you keep throwing it around. Like Deepika Padukone is criticized heavily for using I think too much. She uses I think way too much. It does not sound good. I've seen people criticizing her, writing very bad things to her in comment section. I'm sure it doesn't get to her because she's a big celeb and these things happen to them a lot. So I'm sure she doesn't mind it, but she is criticized. I'm just letting you know that she's heavily criticized for using I think too much. So people we know what you're thinking. Don't keep saying I think. Wait, you're speaking something, obviously you think that thing. So don't keep saying I think. This happens when you don't think first and speak and cook ideas on the way. And when you're not sure about what you're saying, use it appropriately. Personally, I'm far more comfortable in pauses than over usage of crutch words. Sometimes it is natural, but don't let it become your language. That's all I want to say, okay? Moving on to the next point, which is don't mumble. Adjust your tone. Don't scream and don't be Cinderella soft. Speaking too loud or too soft. So sometimes people are way too loud and sometimes they're way too soft. Adjust your voice, okay? Use appropriate volume according to the place where you are. When your volume is high, it's like you're typing in bold letters. Please don't do that. So typing in bold letters is not considered very respectful, by the way. If you do not know, I'll quickly let you know that typing in bold letters is considered a very bad habit. And if you're doing it, please don't. Adjust your voice. Use your diaphragm. Diaphragm is, so when you breathe, your stomach comes out a little. That is your diaphragm expanding. So use your stomach when you're speaking. What do I mean by that? The pitch of your tone. Sometimes people speak from their nose. I don't even know how to speak. You get the idea. Sometimes the voice of a person you're speaking with is very irritating. And now you may be like, ma'am, मेरी आवाज़ में क्या करूँ? ऐसा नहीं है. You can adjust your voice. You can practice to speak from a lower bass. Bring a little bass to your voice. Don't be too high pitchy. It's irritating. It's very